Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our program tonight. We're coming on very late tonight. I apologize for that. I'm going to forego the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem tonight only. Let me give you some history on what has happened today. I woke up this morning with absolutely no internet. I spent about 7 hours trying to figure out what happened to the internet, and as it turns out, someone hit a internet pole sticking up out of the ground and knocked out everybody's internet in the neighborhood. So the internet people were all over the place trying to fix it. So that's why we did not have internet. I had a doctor's appointment this afternoon. We came on the air late because I was working, pulling information that I should have gotten early this morning, and I had not gotten it because the internet was not here. So that's why we were not on the air just after 6 p.m. tonight. We have a lot to talk about. A ton of things to talk about. One of the first things I want to talk about is Australia. Okay, Australia is a fairly decent country, as you can see here on this map. They have their own geological agency, and as you can see, they're reporting many earthquakes. A lot of earthquakes, actually. Now, folks, what you ought to know is that there are earthquakes hitting Australia, as you can see. Okay? Jakarta, Indonesia is reporting a 5.0 today. Over here, let me bring this over here. Let me click on it here. Over here in the Kermadec Islands, okay? I want to show you this, okay? The earthquake down to the left, the bottom left earthquake, that's a 5.9 magnitude earthquake. A 5.9 magnitude earthquake that hit over here in the Kermadec Islands today. USGS not reporting it. Not reporting it. The only earthquake that they're reporting is that light yellow one there at the top of this earthquake sequence here. They're reporting this one. This is a 5.0 earthquake. The one off to the bottom right here, that is also a 5.0 earthquake that they are not reporting. Okay, so they're not reporting the 5.9, very large, close to a 6.0 earthquake. We ought to contrast this to a 6.0 earthquake. A 6.0 earthquake. They're not reporting things. They're just not reporting things. Okay? This is a very strong earthquake. This 5.9 over in the bottom left is a very strong earthquake. Now, with that said, let's go back here over here to Australia now. Yeah. Well, before we go there, let's go over here to Tonga. Okay? This is a 5.1 over here in Tonga. This is out in the ocean. Nobody felt this earthquake because the ocean waters absorbed the energy from this earthquake. The same thing in the Kermadec Islands. Also, you need to know, those of you that have not been working here with us during the past 4.5 years on this program, you need to know this, okay? USGS does not report all earthquakes. Also, the Kermadec Island quakes that we just got through telling you about. The Kermadec Islands are not occupied by anything more than birds. They're a bird sanctuary. The Kermadec Islands are north of New Zealand. Let me bring this to full tilt so you can see what I'm talking about. These islands, these earthquakes here I just got through talking about here, they're north of New Zealand here. North of New Zealand. They're a bird sanctuary. No humans could live there because the islands are surrounded by rocks sticking up out of the water. It's only at high tide that anybody can make it in there to check on the birds. If it's low tide, your boat has a good chance of not making it even to the island. The water will throw it at the rocks, and you're going to go down in the drink, so to speak. Okay? The Kermadec Islands are non-occupied. We have 6.0 style earthquakes here. It says 5.9, 6.0, and the other two are 5.0 in the Kermadec Islands. Over here, this yellow colored earthquake here. This is another 5.3 earthquake in the Fiji Islands this time. 5.3 in the Fiji Islands. Okay? We go over to the west. Okay? Folks, this is the Loyalty Islands. The Loyalty Islands of the South Pacific. This was a magnitude 5.5 earthquake. A 5.5 mid-range large earthquake here in the Loyalty Islands. Again, we can zoom in here. There are no islands that are occupied anywhere near this earthquake. This earthquake hit in the open ocean. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake here. Okay? That being said, let's go over here to Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. This is a 4.8 earthquake in Papua New Guinea today. Okay? This is also out in the open ocean. No islands really close to it. The 4.8 energy is moderate energy. It can do some damage, but not huge damage. In this area, it could possibly do huge damage because this is a third world country. And third world countries don't have the building standards that we do. So when you have a third world country and a large earthquake that hits the area, it causes a lot of damage, and sometimes complete and utter damage. This 4.8 could have caused damage here. It could have been utter damage as well, because these people, again, don't have building standards that we have. They have shacks for the most part, not really good homes. Okay? Causing damage. But this is out in the open ocean. Nothing happened here. Nothing happened here. Okay? Let's move over here further to the west. We'll go back to Australia in just a minute. Okay? I want to show you this earthquake. This is over in the northern Molucca Sea in Indonesia. This was a 5.1 earthquake. A 5.1 earthquake. Now, we're not showing all of the earthquakes here that have happened here in Indonesia either. The Australian agency is not showing them to us. There's 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. Over here near Jakarta, just southwest of Jakarta, folks, this is a 5.1 earthquake here. This is south of Java. South of Java. This could have been a big deal if it had been on land. This was out in the open ocean here. If anybody felt anything on land, if that town there was closer, it might have felt something, but this was out in the open ocean away from land. Okay? This had a depth of 85 kilometers deep as well. This may have been down in the asthenosphere. In the asthenosphere where the plastic magma is. Okay? With that said, Indonesia actually missed a good thing. Actually, it was a good thing they didn't get hit even worse than the shows. Okay? Let's go back down here to Australia. Okay? Folks, this is a 4.7 earthquake down here in southern Australia. This is the same location where we had a 5.1 earthquake here on Saturday. the same location where we had a 5.1 large earthquake on Saturday. There was some damage. There was some damage. The good thing here, this is mostly an unoccupied volcanic area. An unoccupied volcanic area. There's few homes right near here. Okay? There's other towns out here to the north here. They may be occupied. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I believe this one here is a very tiny town here. Okay? But this earthquake here was far, I believe it was far enough away from any real villages that it didn't do much damage here. This whole area felt it though. There were about 3,000 felt reports of the 5.1 earthquake. Today, this is a 4.7 moderate earthquake. Moderate earthquakes cause moderate damage, usually knocking dishes off of shelves, possibly rattling dishes and plates, knocking knickknacks off shelves, books off shelves, such as that. Nothing really big. Okay, you see this earthquake here as well. Okay, there's some smaller earthquakes as well here, and it's not letting us show you this. There are some aftershocks from that 5.1 here. Okay, 4.3, 4.8, also some 2s and a 3 down here to the south. Not too big of a deal. Not too big of a deal. Going up here to the north, however, okay, I want to show you this. Okay, right here. This earthquake is a 3.4 small quake here. Out in the middle of the desert area of Australia. They call it the outback. The outback. There's also several other smaller quakes, 2.5, 2.3 out here as well. Nothing really big. Nothing really big out here at all. So, let's go over this one here to the north here. Okay, this is the Northern Territories. The Northern Territories. This is a 3.6 here. Again, it's out in the middle of the desert area of Australia, the outback. Nothing much is going on. Small quakes are not going to do any damage. May wake some people up, shaking it at your feet, that kind of thing. No real big deal here. Okay? That's here in Australia. Okay? This is a different map that we've seen before. I wanted to show you this. This is realistic. This is realistic. When we have earthquakes here in Australia, we'll show them to you. Okay? The USGS map, as we have said before, is there. It only shows us earthquakes that we could show on a worldwide basis. Nothing huge, nothing big at all. These earthquakes here are just not even realistic on the USGS map. Okay? They're only showing us what they want to show us. Nothing more and nothing less. Okay? It's almost not even realistic. This earthquake here just hit off of Taiwan. Look how close it was to Taiwan. USGS is saying that this is 35 miles southwest of Yonaguni, Japan. Yonaguni, Japan. This is off the northwest or northeast coast of Taiwan. Off the northeast coast of Taiwan. This just happened just a short time ago. This was a very strong earthquake. They have it as a 5.9. As you know, I don't trust them at all. When they call it a 5.9, it's usually a 6.0 or larger earthquake, and we will keep an eye on this, and we'll report to you when we find out anything different. Like I said, it just happened. We haven't had a time to research this earthquake. Down here to the south, just off the coast here, literally, this is a 4.4 moderate quake here. This one is 59 miles east Yuying, Taiwan. Taiwan. Yuying is spelled Y-U-J-I-N-G. Yuying, Taiwan. There are people on the coast. I don't believe they felt this because this was out in the water. Okay? But that 5.9, 6.0 earthquake was close to Taiwan. I believe for the most part, nobody felt anything but just possibly moderate shaking because it was off the coast, and the coastal waters of Taiwan absorbed the shock waves of that quake. They're not showing anything up here in Japan, which is a false idea. They had a 4.8 earthquake just off the coast of Honshu, Japan, right here. A 4.8 earthquake hit here just off the coast of Honshu, Japan. Over here to the north of Hokkaido. This is over in Russia. The Kuril Islands in Russia. This is a moderate 4.5 earthquake here. Okay? We talked about these earthquakes over here in the islands of the South Pacific already. I want to go over here to Alaska. Again, they're not showing everything that's going on here in Alaska either. I want to go over here. Okay? Why? This is a volcano. Old Ililama volcano here. Further south, probably 75 miles south of Old Ililama volcano, this is a 2.4 earthquake. Here is a 1.7 tremor. Over here, closer to Old Ililama, they still have seismic energy hitting here. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is a 0.1 microquake. This is a 0.8 microquake. Old Ililama volcano is still getting hit, but it's just very minor events here. To the north of there, this is a 1.6 tremor here. This is near Aveyah, Japan, Aveyah, Alaska. Okay, further north here, this is a 1.2 tremor. Right next to it is a 1.4 tremor. We go north. In the Cook Inlet, you see seismic energy here. This is very negligible. This is a 1.7 near Nunavut, Alaska. This is a 1.6 over here on the west side here. Again, this is the Cook Inlet. The Cook Inlet here. Just minor events happening here. As we go further north, not that far from Mount Redoubt, Alaska, another volcano. Mount Redoubt is an active volcano. While it's not steaming right now, it has been shaking. This earthquake here is a 2.1 minor quake here. Just to the north of it here, this is a 1.8. 1.8 here. Okay. Now, this is Anchorage, Alaska right here. This is the bustling city of Anchorage, Alaska. While we don't see much happening here, we do have some minor tremors all over this area that they are also not showing. The closest one to there is Willow, Alaska here, a 1.1 minor tremor. Okay, not that big a deal. Over here, over on the west side of Denali National Park, this is a 2.1 earthquake. Just on the eastern side of Denali. This one is 21 miles north of Chase, Alaska. North of Chase, Alaska. This is an earthquake here in Denali National Park. This is a 1.6 just northwest of Mount McKinley. Not a big deal today. Okay? We go north. This is Ruby, Alaska. This is a 2.4 minor earthquake here. Not really a big deal here. We go further northeast over here to, this is a different one. Okay? This is a Russian name. As you know, the United States obtained Alaska from Russia back in the early 50s. And Alaska became one of the states of the nation here. We have a 3.6 earthquake here. This isn't, I'm going to try to pronounce it with my broken Russian. I don't even know Russian. Chalkivsky. Chalkivsky. Can't even pronounce it. Chalkivsnik. Okay? Alaska, a 3.6 earthquake here. Not a big deal. We have no earthquakes above the Arctic Circle today. Nothing here even near the Arctic Circle. That's a good thing. Okay? Now, I come down here to Washington State. Okay? This is a big deal. This is in the Puget Sound area. The Puget Sound. This is a 3.1 earthquake near Burley, Washington. Burley, Washington. This is a small 3.1 earthquake near Burley, Washington. The rest of the state is not showing much of anything except for here at Mount St. Helens. This is a 0.2 microquake at Mount St. Helens, but look at this. This is what everybody needs to see. Okay? It's not just one microquake or one tremor. This is a tremor outbreak at Mount St. Helens. This microquake here is 2.2 miles deep. Okay? Over here also in the summit area of the volcano, this is a 0.5. This is a 0.3. Also 1.6 miles deep. Okay? This is a 0.2. Further south here is a 0.0, supposedly a surface quake. 0.0 earthquakes are usually supposed to be called surface quakes. Well, guess what? This is actually 3.2 miles deep. This is not a surface quake at all. They're mischaracterizing this quake for whatever reason. This is not a surface quake. Further south over here on the southwest flank of Mount McKinley, and they just did me dirty, and I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to come back here and show you this in just a second. USGS does this all the time to me. We always recover here. There hasn't been any time we have not recovered from what they do here. Going back here to Mount St. Helens volcano. Over here to the southwest side, the flank of the volcano. This is what they call a 0.0 surface quake as well. It's not. It's not. This is 3.6 miles deep. Not a surface quake. 3.6 miles deep. Okay? Probably a 1.1 tremor. That's what I believe it was, a 1.1 tremor. There's all kinds of earthquakes and tremors hitting here at Mount St. Helens. I don't have the time right now to pull up the seismograms to show you all the earthquakes and such hitting the volcanoes tonight. I'll do that maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. But folks, this is what's going on. They don't ever show us anything correctly. Rarely do they ever. Okay? That's just how they conduct business, for whatever reason. Down here in the southern Cascadia subduction zone, the subduction zone region, I should say. Okay? This earthquake is right next to the what we call the triple junction. The Gorda escarpment that goes away from the coast here, out west into the Pacific Ocean. That is the Gorda escarpment. This earthquake zone going north, that is the Cascadia subduction zone. It runs right along the coast of Oregon, Washington, California, and the coast of British Columbia, Canada, all the way up to Queen Charlotte Island. Okay? Here we have a 2.4 minor earthquake. This is 15 miles deep. Actually 16 miles deep. And they just took one of the earthquakes down, which is a 2.4 earthquake as well, just off the coast of Petrolia, California. And that one was on the San Andreas Fault here. That's why they call it the Triple Junction. The Gorda Escarpment, the Cascadia Subduction Zone, and the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault runs all the way down through California here. All the way down through California. Let me show you something, by the way. Okay? We do have an earthquake over here in San Francisco. Okay? This is Sobrante, California. This is the Hayward Fault. A 1.2 tremor down here. This one to the north. This one is Rio Vista, California. This one is on the Calaveras Fault. Two of the most violent and deadly fault zones in the world. The Hayward Fault and the Calaveras Fault. Okay? Together with the San Andreas Fault, this is not a happy area. This is not a happy area, regardless of how many earthquakes are hitting here. That could be a very deadly area if that opens up, and it probably will. Especially when the Cascadia Fault Zone lets loose. Anyway, let's go further south here, down just east of Monterey Bay. This is Prunedale, California. This is a 1.8 tremor on the San Andreas Fault. As you can see, there's nothing down here on the San Andreas Fault until we get past Los Angeles area. Okay? Over here in LA, this is a different fault. This is San Fernando Valley. San Fernando Valley, California. This is a 1.0 tremor. I believe this would be the Newport Inglewood Fault. Newport Inglewood Fault down here. Okay? Further south, on the San Andreas Fault, this is Cabazon, California. Cabazon, California. This is what they call the Anza Gap. The Anza Gap. This is a 1.3 tremor here. The reason they call it the Anza Gap, this is the northern end of the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Anza Borrego Desert State Park reaches from over here in northeastern San Diego County all the way up here into Cabazon and up here into Idlewild, California, up in the San Bernardino Mountains. Cabazon. Okay? The Anza Borrego Desert State Park area. It's all affiliated here. Down here in the Anza, California area, this is north San Diego County near Fallbrook, California. This is a 0.6 microquake here. Further south here is Borrego Springs, California. Again, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park here. This is a 1.0 tremor. This is a 1.3 here in Borrego Springs. Another 1.0 in Borrego Springs here. Further south, this is a 1.0 in Ocotillo Wells. Ocotillo Wells. This is over on the eastern side of the Chocolate Mountains. Okay? Over here, this is southwest of Salton City. Southwest of Salton City, this is a 1.6 tremor here. You notice earthquakes over here. Imperial Valley again, guys. The Imperial Valley. This is being recorded in Calipatria. However, this is just outside Calipatria. Okay? I'm zooming in so you can see the exact location. Okay? Earthquakes in this area are usually due to two different things. They're either earthquakes that are spawned from the Salton Butte volcano, which is out here just off the shoreline of the Salton Sea. Just north of the shoreline of the Salton Sea is the Salton Butte volcano. Salton Butte volcano can hold its own. There are earthquakes directly attributed to the Salton Butte volcano. However, this is not. This is a 1.2 tremor. Okay? Man has drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Salton Butte volcano. When seismic energy hits this, hits those earthquake faults, man-made earthquake faults, those drill points, causes shaking. The rocks are fracturing inside that earthquake fault. This is a 1.2 tremor here. But I want to zoom in here and show you what is going on. Look what is right next to that earthquake. Literally. This is one of those places where we have drill points in the earth where again man drilled into the earth to obtain steam from the Salt Butte volcano, the upper magma chambers of the volcano. This, folks, are a bunch of turbines. The steam taken from the volcano is brought over here and powers the turbines to generate electricity for Imperial Gas and Electric. That's what's going on right here. There are 3 different banks of turbines here. You can see 3 sets of turbines here. Okay? There are a total of 6 different facilities throughout the Imperial Valley that do the same thing. They take steam from the upper magma chambers of the volcano and turn it into steam to generate electricity here. Okay? And it causes earthquakes. This is just a 1.2 tremor here. Fortunately, a 1.2 tremor. Further south, this is also Calipatria. Okay? This is also 1.3 tremor. Notice we don't have any turbines here. We don't have any turbines. This is in the middle of an agricultural field here in the Imperial Valley. Okay? No turbines out here. No turbines. This is the city of Brawley, California. Brawley, California. Now back in the day, back in the 70s when I was out here for my first time, I did a speech and debate tournament in high school in Brawley, California, at Brawley High School. Later on, I worked part-time for a radio station over here called KFMB in San Diego. There were 2 morning disc jockey teams, Hudson and Bauer. Mac Hudson and Joe Bauer. Both men are now deceased. Unfortunately, rest their souls. Great men. Comedians on their own right. They made records and CDs. Well, Mac Hudson and Joe Bauer on the radio show in the mornings had their Hutto and Bowsy radio show. And Hutto and Bowsy frequently poked fun at everything around them, including Brawley, California. On one of their, well, I shouldn't even say just one. It was multiple broadcasts throughout their time on KFMB. They had a broadcast that originated from the First Church on the right in Brawley, California, with the Reverend Jack from the First Church on the right. There was actually no First Church on the right. Mrs. Reverend Jack powered the mighty Wurlitzer organ at the First Church on the right. And they poked fun at Brawley and everything else. This is Brawley, California. Okay, just a little insight into what I know about Brawley and this area. Okay, a lot of fun over here. A lot of things happen. I love Brawley. I love Holtville area. We did a debate tournament at Holtville when I was out there as well. Holtville is further south down here. Okay, Imperial Valley also has a town called Imperial right here. This is the town of Imperial, California. This is a bigger town than Holtville or Brawley. Okay, also some other place that you might want to know about. Okay, it's called El Centro Naval Air Station. El Centro Naval Air Station is where they have a seismograph here. Okay, I've been there. I taught the Navy MP police how to conduct traffic accident investigations. I spent a great deal of time out here at El Centro. Okay, right over here is the town of El Centro, California. It's a bustling town of El Centro here. Okay, it's great. Further south we have some more earthquakes here. Holtville, California. Good old Holtville, California. This is 4 miles southwest of Holtville. Holtville's right up there, like I said. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. A 2.0 earthquake. This, folks, just south of there is another 2.4 here. 2.4. I believe these earthquakes are related to earthquake faults in this region in the Imperial Valley. There are a lot of smaller earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley, and they do get hit. They do get hit a lot. Okay? Also, Holtville has a seismograph there. It's called the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. Salton Sea Desert Research Station in Holtville. They show a lot of earthquakes. Again, we have 2 minor earthquakes there in Holtville today. A lot of things happening. Okay? I want to go north. Way north here. Okay? Way north. I want to go up here to Montana. Good old Montana. This is, they say, is a 1.5 quarry blast. I just love quarry blasts, guys. I really do. Many times they are so wrong. This time they are right. This is a 1.5 tremor quarry blast here. Okay? Near Butte, Montana. 3 miles from Butte, Montana. It's right there. It's not 3 miles, it's right there. There's Butte, Montana there. I've been there. Okay? East of there. This is Whitehall, Montana with a 0.9 microquake. This is also part of the great big huge Yellowstone caldera. Okay? Yellowstone caldera. Yes, the magma chamber reaches from Canada all the way down into northern Utah. 11 Grand Canyons in size. Huge. Huge. Further south here, this is Mammoth, Wyoming. Mammoth, Wyoming. This is the Mammoth Geyser Basin. The Mammoth Geyser Basin. This is a 1.6 tremor at the Mammoth Geyser Basin here. Okay, just because it's not in Yellowstone doesn't mean it's not connected. It is. Okay. Further southwest here, this is southern Idaho. Okay, this is 0.6. This is just barely east of Challis, Idaho. It's along the western side of the Yellowstone magma chamber. Okay, southern Idaho at 0.6 microquake here. Yellowstone Lake is right here. Okay, you don't see anything because they have not reported it. There are reportable earthquakes here, tremors and 2s, and I believe we even have a 3.0 earthquake here in Yellowstone area. They have not told us about it here because they won't. They don't want us to know anything. However, down here to the south, this is Soda Springs, California. Or California. Jeez, not California. This is Soda Springs, Idaho. I don't believe I said Soda Springs, California. Soda Springs, Idaho here, guys. This is also a great place. I spent a great deal of time here in Soda Springs in my youth. Okay? This is a 2.0 earthquake here. Okay? They say this is 21 miles northeast of Soda Springs. I spent a great deal of time here. Okay? Soda Springs is also part of the Yellowstone magma chamber. I believe it reaches all the way down here to the south, down here into northern Utah. Into northern Utah. Okay? That's that. I want to report on a couple other quakes out here. Right here. These are in southern Utah. Okay? This is a 1.3 tremor. This is actually not, I said southern, I meant central Utah. Milford, Utah here. This is part of the Black Rock Desert volcano area. Black Rock Desert volcano. I spent some time over here. Okay? That's a minus 0.6. It's in the mountains. This is a 1.3 tremor here, and also right here. You can see the black rock here. This is a 1.6 near Circleville, Utah. Circleville, Utah. All this is around the Black Rock Desert volcano here. Okay? That's there. We go further south than that. Go over here to the east. This is Copaloon, New Mexico. Copeland, New Mexico. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here in New Mexico. Okay? Way further south. Southwestern Texas. Okay? This is a 2.1 earthquake. This is a 2.1 here. This 2.1 is, I believe, in Toyah, Texas. This is also a 2.3 here in Toyah, Texas. Over here is Mentone, Texas, with a 2.1 here. Okay? That's happening. We go further northeast here. Rotan, Texas. R-O-T-A-N, Texas. This is a 2.0 earthquake. We go further northeast here. This is a 1.8 tremor here. Oklahoma, Ratcliffe City, Oklahoma. Oil and gas pumping operation here. Further north here is Pawnee, Oklahoma. The same thing here. This is a 2.0 earthquake in Pawnee, Oklahoma. Over here to the east. Okay? We told you about earthquakes over here on the Continental Divide on the east coast of the United States. Folks, this is on the Continental Divide. This is Stewart's Draft, Virginia. Stewart's Draft, Virginia today. You can see the Continental Divide here. Okay? You can see the Appalachian Mountains going here to the north. This is a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. This is 5.3 miles deep. Okay? How do these earthquakes happen? Okay? For those of you that are new, Kimberly Hopkins says has a ski resort. Cool. Yes, Soda Springs is a ski resort town. It's also a hot springs town. I spent many hours in the hot springs when I was a kid. They have a beautiful pool over there in Soda Springs, everything. It's cool. Hurricane Heather posted the, I believe she posted the website to our Discord channel. She's Tigger. She's Tigger 1420 on her Discord. I ought to be Tigger too. I've been called Tigger as a nickname many times. That's a different story. Anyway, getting back here to Stewart, Virginia. This is over in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. This is the Eastern Continental Divide of the United States. How does that happen? For those of you that are new here, I've explained this before. Out here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean is expanding. You see the mid-Atlantic fault here? Middle of the Atlantic Ocean, middle Atlantic fault here? In the North Atlantic? This is expanding from out here. The Atlantic fault is pushing the North American fault, the North American plate. The Atlantic plate is pushing the North American plate in a southwesterly direction. It's also pushing Europe in a northeasterly direction. In a northeasterly direction out here, pushing Africa as well. Okay? But over here in America, it's pushing us in a southwesterly direction. That's why we continue to get earthquakes here on the East Coast. Okay? We'll talk more about the earthquakes on the East Coast this week. Okay? Let's go over here, actually, before we go to Europe. Okay, I want to go over here to Puerto Rico. Okay? Before we get to Puerto Rico, here is the Cayman Ridge. The Cayman Ridge is actually a trench here in the Caribbean. Okay? The Cayman Ridge originates over in Guatemala over here. It originates over here in Guatemala. It goes all the way through the Caribbean here. Okay, it heads north. And then it starts headed east, just south of the Cayman Islands. Okay? It goes north over Jamaica. It skirts Cuba very well here. Southern coast of Cuba here. It goes north of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It goes north of Puerto Rico. This earthquake here is a 3.4 earthquake on the Cayman Ridge. Okay? Further south here, this is an aftershock of a 6.3 earthquake that hit here 2 years ago. during Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria was hitting the southern side of Puerto Rico that night. At the same time, we had a 6.3 earthquake over here, just southwest, or excuse me, just northwest of Puerto Rico here. Here today, we have a 3.0 earthquake here. Okay? Northwest of San Antonio, Puerto Rico. On the southern side of Puerto Rico, 4 years ago, we had 2 huge earthquakes, man-made earthquakes here. Okay? The United States and several countries have a facility to generate VLF waves and high frequency waves here. This is the agency here. Please do not put this in the chat. No one needs to put this in the chat at all. I'm showing you this to tell you the story behind the earthquakes. This facility here lit up in Norway, one in Russia, and one over in northwestern Australia. All 3 facilities targeted, triangulated Puerto Rico. On December 26, 2019, an 8.0 earthquake hit right here. An 8.0 earthquake hit right here. 2 days later, an 8.4 earthquake hit here as well. Both major earthquakes, both doing major damage to Puerto Rico, knocking power out all over the island. It shook the entire island. The epicenter was right here. It destroyed homes, it destroyed businesses here, it destroyed people's lives. People were killed when that happened. Man-made earthquakes. Man-made earthquakes. Okay? As you can see, we're still having aftershocks from those earthquakes 4 years later. Okay? Over here to the north, this is a 1.8 tremor. This is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake here. Okay? Down here, you see this cluster of quakes? Okay? 2.0s, 2.1s. I'm not going to hit everyone. This is a 3.0 near Guanilla. This is where my buddy Dominic lives. He's the captain of the Puerto Rican police force. Okay? 3.0 earthquake. The last time I talked to him, we had him on the air. There was a 2.9 earthquake that we felt we had here on the map, and he says it was a 3.5, and it was shaking like it was a lot larger than that. We saw his blinds on his window shaking like something else. Okay? Earthquakes. Aftershocks from that quake. Or actually, not just that quake, but those quakes. 8.0 quakes. This is a 2.1 here. This is a 2.3 here. Further south, this is a 3.5. This is a small 3.5 earthquake here. This is 5.6 miles deep. Okay? Down here, this is a 2.6 here. 9.9, basically 10 miles deep. As a result of those major earthquakes on December 26th and 28th, 2019. Over here to the west here, these may also be part of that. Okay? This also is probably part of that. This is a 2.6 near Palmarejo, Puerto Rico. And this is a 2.9, 3.0 near Monte Grande, Puerto Rico here. This is 12.6 miles deep. This other one is a 12.7 mile deep quake. Okay? Further here to the east, I don't believe this earthquake has anything to do with the 8.0 and 8.4 quakes. It may, but I doubt it. Okay? This is a small 3.2 earthquake out here, just off the coast of Salinas, Puerto Rico. 2 miles south of Salinas, Puerto Rico here. This is 5.6 miles deep here in Puerto Rico. Okay? Just east of there. Esperanza, this is 6 miles southeast of Esperanza, Puerto Rico. Esperanza, Puerto Rico. Folks, this is an island here. This is a tourist trap. Boaters flock all over here. They have a lot of cool places here. The only way you can get here is by boat. Kimberly Hopkins just gave us another $5 super chat. Thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate that. God bless you for that. We really do appreciate it. That means a lot. Okay? I just gave you my own EMA heart here. How about that? Anyway, guys, over here, I want to show you this. This is a bustling city. The only way you can get in and out of here is either by air, small plane, or by boat. By boat. I have friends that boat over here. They tell me this is not just a bustling city, but it's a great place to live and also a great place to see. Restaurants all over the place, especially over here near the harbor. It's a great place. Okay? Just so you know. But here just south of there is a 2.6 earthquake here today. Okay? Let's go over here to Europe. Okay? Actually, before we do that, South America. They're showing 2 earthquakes here. There's 27 earthquakes here in South America today. They're not showing a squat. Over here in the Andes Mountains, over here in Chile, in central Chile, a 4.3 moderate earthquake here, 66 miles deep. Over here, Ecuador, Colombia border region. This is a 3.65 miles deep. Okay? There's a lot more earthquakes than that. They're just not talking about it. A lot more earthquakes in southern Mexico. They're not showing that. They're not showing anything down in Central America either. They're a bunch of crap. Okay? Over here, they're not showing anything in Africa, but I know there's 4.3, 4.2 earthquakes in Africa today. Okay? They're not showing it, are they? Heaven forbid. Over here, Bulgaria, a 3.6 earthquake. North of there, almost directly north of there, over in Romania, there's also a 4.3 earthquake here in Romania, not showing it. You know, why not? Why not be honest and show these earthquakes? They show 4.3s all over the place. Why not here? I'm not even going to go there. I'm tired of it. There's earthquakes over here in Italy today. There's earthquakes over here in Croatia area. There's earthquakes along this border region in the what's it called? My mind just froze. Anyway, folks, over here in the mountains, the Alps. I got it. The Alps Mountains. There are earthquakes over here in Switzerland and Germany area, in the France and Italian Alps here, earthquakes here. Now, folks, earthquakes here in France. Earthquakes here in Spain. They're not telling us about anything, are they? Not anything. They're telling us about one earthquake here. Okay? This is north of the Himalayas. Okay? Saga, China. Saga, China, a 4.3. Why are they not telling us about a 4.3 earthquake on the southern side of the Himalayas over here in India? Why are they not doing that? There are earthquakes there. Earthquakes over here in Tajikistan and Afghanistan, not showing those either. There's earthquake over here in southern Iran, not showing that. Okay? There's 15 earthquakes over here in the Turkey-Syria area, not showing that either. Okay? Over here in western Turkey, not showing the 4 earthquakes here either. They're not showing the 20 earthquakes over here in Greece. Why not? Why not? Inquiring minds want to know, don't they? I think so. I think so. But they're not showing these. They're not showing them. I find it appalling. I find it very appalling. Earthquakes happening all over. Now, folks, I've got a lot more to talk about here. I'm going to get really busy here and tell you about some things going on. Yeah, Don Patoga says, it's classified, you don't need to know, Ron. Oh, they would like to think it's classified, wouldn't they? Early this morning, I got a telephone call from one of my military sources. Actually, not just military, this is a government source. And he talked about a worldwide travel ban. America issued a travel ban. And I want to talk to you about that travel ban. Okay? Actually, before I do that, before I do that, keep that on the back burner here. Okay? Keep it on the back burner. I want to go over to the New Madrid Fault area. North of north of the Gulf of Mexico in the New Orleans area. Just north of the city of New Orleans itself is Lake Pontchartrain. You can see Lake Pontchartrain on the north side of this slide. Mandeville, Louisiana is on the northern shores of Lake Pontchartrain. Where you see that middle line here. This middle line here is Interstate 55, leaving New Orleans, going up here to the northern side of Illinois. Northern side of Louisiana, going north, and I believe it does go into Illinois. But anyway, I-55 here. You see by these clouds, this is mostly fog, but it's also smoke. This morning, there was a deadly accident here on Interstate 55. People were killed and injured here at this accident scene. A very bad accident. Twisted metal and everything. Okay? This was huge. Let me tell you about what happened here. Okay? First, there was fog caused by lake effect. The ground is cooler than the water, and as a result, it makes fog. Okay? But on the southern end over here, let me bring up that other slide here that I had here. Okay, just southeast of I-55, there's a marsh that's on fire. The marsh has been on fire since July. It's a huge marsh over here on the southwestern part of Lake Pontchartrain. Okay, there's usually some kind of fog here, but not as deadly as this one today. Dense fog contributed to a multi-vehicle pileup this morning. There are reports of deaths and injuries as a series of pileups related to the smoke and fog on Interstate 55 today. Louisiana State Police spokesman Sergeant Kate Stegall said there were multiple crashes on both sides, both directions of Interstate 55, with multiple vehicles involved. One of the accidents was a chain reaction crash in Manchac, Tangiafoa Parish. Manchac, Tangiafoa Parish. Let me show you this accident right here. Twisted metal. You see that guy on the side of his truck? His truck was actually lifted up by the power of other vehicles hitting his truck. Unreal. Unreal. You can see the fog in the background. By the time this photo was taken, the fog had lifted somewhat. Let me show you something else. Look at this. This is a this is a highway patrol officer responding to that accident scene right after it happened. As you can see, you can't see very far in front of you here. There are other pictures here that are even more dramatic. I want to show you this here. Look at this. You can't see anything but that light in the distance through the fog. People said that you couldn't see 15 feet in front of your face. No joke. Highway Patrolman Stegall said she could not immediately confirm how many people have been injured or killed. A driver in one of the vehicles, Christopher Vanacore, described the scene in an interview this afternoon. He said, "I saw multiple cars just crushed. 18-wheelers that you could see that were set ablaze. So it was smoke from the marsh fire and also smoke from the truck fires. The fog was so dense it was super thick. You could probably only see 10 feet in front of you. It was very scary to say the least, because you know just as much as you can only see 10 feet in front of you. You can only see 10 to 15 feet behind you. So you didn't know what was coming from behind either." Mr. Vanacore was able to safely exit the interstate, but he continued to hear the crashes happening behind him. The fog and smoke was created by weather conditions in that area. The fog on the west side of Lake Pontchartrain near New Orleans was lake effect fog, created when the cooler air conditions were met with the warmer water conditions on the lake. The smoke that contributed to the hazardous conditions came from the marsh fires just southeast of the area on the south side of the lake. The wind conditions in the area were blowing in a northwesterly direction at the time of the accident, blowing the smoke into the patch of dense fog surrounding the area of I-55. St. John the Baptist Parish Sheriff Mike Triggery said officials were working to bring in school buses to transport about 100 people stranded on the interstate. The smoke from wildfires burning in the marshes could be seen and smelled in New Orleans to the south. Smoke from the marsh fires is trapped by a temperature inversion in the atmosphere after sunset on Sunday. The locals have been complaining for days about the strong smell of smoke due to the fire burning near Bayou Sauvage. The blaze was caused by a lightning strike on July 29th. The smoke that combined with developing fog overnight, creating what sometimes is called super fog, which can cause drastically reduced visibility for motorists. The conditions affected miles of I-55 northwest of New Orleans between Ponchatoula and Laplace. This kind of combination has been a hazard for motorists in the past. Wind speeds might increase some for tonight and early tomorrow, which could limit the development of another round of fog, but smoke from the fires could still be around. They're urging absolute caution along Interstate 55 tonight and tomorrow. Another fire nearby Lafitte is also sending smoke into the area. This fire was reported at 52% containment Sunday night. A dense fog advisory was in effect until 10 a.m. local time this morning for portions of southeast Louisiana and coastal Mississippi Valley. Visibility was 1/4 to a half mile in some locations. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which was overseeing the fire, is unable to even reach the area with fire trucks because it is surrounded by water. It is a marsh fire. The Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans has been pumping water into the area to help fight the fire. Now, as I was talking about earlier, a travel ban. My source told me that the United States was banning travel to a lot of countries and throughout the world because of the war. Okay? I want to talk about that now. Okay? The United States has 2 aircraft carrier task forces in the area of the Western Med. That's about 20 ships. 20 ships in the Western Mediterranean. Russia and China met today to establish their policies regarding Israel. One of the policies is China is sending 6 ships to the area. They really have no interest in the area except for maybe oil, but they're sending 6 warships to the Western Med. Now, given that, there's travel advisories in place. What countries are U.S. citizens not allowed to travel to? Like I said, my source said there was a travel ban, a worldwide travel ban because of terrorist activities and the protests which become deadly in many places. There are currently 7 to 8 nations that are on a travel ban list. And as soon as I get any updated information more than what my source gave me today, I will bring that to you in the near future, in the days to come. On the travel ban list right now are Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, Yemen, and Russia. United States Travel Advisory, okay? There's several advisory levels that I want to discuss with you in case you want to travel. The level numbers advise the following. Level 1, exercise normal precautions. Switzerland is level 1. Normal precautions there. Read the country information page for additional information on travel to Switzerland. Portugal, on the western side of Spain. Portugal stands out as one of the most secure destinations for travel worldwide for travelers. Instances of crime are minimal. Instances of violent crime are rare. Although major urban centers like Lisbon may experience petty crime, this is expected in any large city. Down in Central America, Costa Rica is a generally safe place for travelers. Still, visitors should be aware of potential dangers before starting travel to this location. It is important to take the necessary precautions as in any urban city to stay safe while traveling in this beautiful country of Costa Rica. Also, level 2. This is the second level. Exercise increased caution. Peru and most areas of South America. Exercise increased caution. The latest update that we got was reissued with updates to crime information. Exercise increased caution due to crime, civil unrest, and the possibility of kidnapping. Some areas have increased risk. Now, you might be surprised by this next one on this list. It's Florida in the United States. Caution is advised for travelers to Florida. Travel to all areas of Florida should be done with extreme caution, as it can be particularly unsafe for people of color, LGBTQIA+ communities, and individuals that speak with an accent, and international travelers. Saudi Arabia, they say, is safe for American tourists. I would say issue caution. Okay? But the State Department is putting this up. They say it's safe for American tourists, although you should travel there with caution. Anyone traveling there should be aware of the possible missile and drone strikes on facilities, so increased caution in Saudi Arabia a must. I would say don't go there. Why risk having a missile drop down in your backyard or on the backside of your hotel? Don't do it. Level 3, reconsider travel. What is a level 3 travel warning in the United States? Reconsidering travel. Avoid travel due to serious risk to safety and security. The Department of State provides additional advice for travelers in these areas in the travel advisory. Conditions in any country may change at any time. You need to be aware of that. Now, We talked about Jamaica just a little bit ago when we were talking about earthquakes. How safe is Jamaica? Down in the Caribbean. Consider travel risky. Reconsider any travel to Jamaica due to crime. U.S. government personnel are prohibited from traveling to too many areas due to increased risk. Read the travel advisory for your countries before you try to go visiting there. Summary for Jamaica. Violent crimes such as home invasion, armed robberies, sexual assaults, and homicides are common. Is it safe to go to France? We told you about Palestine terrorists ripping Paris and other parts of France apart. France has a raised national threat level due to its increased degree of terrorism. The British government states that terrorists are very likely to try to carry out attacks in France, and advises those traveling in France currently to remain vigilant at all times. Vigilant at all times in France. Is Mexico safe to travel in right now? The latest update. There's a high rate of violent crime in Mexico, especially after dark. Kidnapping and extortion are serious risks. We advise safety. Exercise a high degree of caution in Mexico overall due to high levels of violent crime, and terrorist activities are now happening in Mexico. If you're thinking about vacationing in Cancun at the southern part of Baja, the short answer is around Yucatan Peninsula as well. Cancun, Tulum, and the Riviera is the safest areas of Mexico in 2023. That's according to the U.S. State Department. Okay? The Yucatan Peninsula, Cancun, that area is safe, allegedly. Okay? Now, a lot of people have been asking me, and I'm giving you this information. One of the reasons I'm giving it to you is because of my source today said don't do it. Kimberly Hopkins is saying she's having connection issues, and I'm sorry about that. We have a pretty good size rate here when it comes to our signal transmission, so it's not coming from here. They may be, okay, YouTube may be playing with us here, and I'm sorry. It's sad. Okay. The question was asked, how safe is it to go to Israel right now? The latest update is this. We continue to advise you to reconsider your need to travel to Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories overall due to the volatile security situation, including the threat of terrorism, armed conflict, and civil unrest. Do not travel. Do not travel. For Biden to have gone there was a mistake. His aircraft, Air Force One, almost got hit by a missile as he was pulling out of Israel. Do not travel. Level 4 is do not travel. Okay? What countries in the U.S. are not allowed to travel to? Currently, there are, like I said, 8 nations on the travel ban I just read to you. Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen, as well as Russia. I just mentioned Venezuela. The State Department is saying Venezuela is due to crime, civil unrest, kidnapping, and arbitrary enforcement of local laws. Reconsider traveling to Venezuela due to wrongful detentions, terrorism, and poor health infrastructure. The U.S. State Department placed an embargo on trade into Cuba, between Cuba and the United States. During the Obama administration, he made Cuba a travel destination. It's still not safe because of civil unrest in the area. Okay? Because of the embargo on trade since 1962, Yes, there's an embargo on trade since 1962 until today. It makes travel to Cuba harder than you might think, but not impossible. Russia is a level 4 country. Do not travel. The United States has been pulling embassy personnel and other people out of Russia as well, and Russia's been pulling them out of the United States. Egypt. Terrorist attacks could occur anywhere in Egypt as well as missile attacks. Potential targets include religious sites and tourist locations. I wouldn't go to Israel either. It's a level 4. It is a level 4. Does anybody have any questions? I made sure to save this until last because I've had a lot of people calling me, a lot of people emailing me, and my source today called and told me that there's a travel ban in place for most of the world. Okay? Now with that said, I also had a conversation and I saw a video posted by Glenn Beck today, and they were talking about this. They were talking about this. Be safe, whatever you do. Okay? In the future, we told you about an organization right here. Again, do not put this on the chat. Please do not put any of these on the chat. This organization right here is going to make things almost impossible to travel. Okay, if you want more information, I would go to the Glenn Beck program. Look at his latest postings. Okay, early this afternoon he posted his latest video. He may have posted one since, I don't know, because I've been doing my own thing. But he talked about the travel bans going into effect. They do not want anybody traveling. They're going to make sure that nobody travels more than like 2 hours a year on an airliner. If you travel more than 1,000 miles, you're not allowed to travel any more than that. Okay? 1,000 miles. That's like a 23 or 24-hour trip by car. If you go by plane, in the future, that organization says they're not going to allow it. And the same thing in Europe. Only the people that have money are going to be allowed to travel. Okay? That's the truth. Like I said, if you want more information about that, go over to Glenn Beck's channel. He does a full rundown on it. Okay? And that's perfect. That's perfect. Nathan Hester says, I don't fly anywhere. I don't either lately. I'd like to. There's a couple places I need to go. Right now I can't. What I'm saying is, guys, be safe with whatever you do. Be safe whatever you do. Julie Healing Leaf says, stop letting them in via Norway. I agree. I totally agree with you. Chris Burke says, at least run for Congress on, we can make you Speaker of the House. Oh, they can make me Speaker of the House anyway. Okay? They could make me Speaker of the House. They may, in fact, I want them to put President Trump as Speaker of the House. That would get rid of a lot of problems that we have. Okay? Yeah, I would love to be Speaker of the House. That'd be fun. I'd kick some butt. Linda Covington says, oh yeah, the carbon tax. That's one of the things that Glenn Beck talked about. Okay? The elites don't care a dadgum bit about the carbon tax. It's all about us reducing the carbon level. Okay? Unreal. Julie Healing says, I feel shady vibes out where I live. I agree. I feel shady vibes all over the place. That's why I'm packing 90% of the time now. I'm packing 90% of the time. Demon Cat says, Catman says, I tried starting my own airline, flapped real hard and didn't get off the ground. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. I love it. Tom Patukas is all locked up. Yeah. Anyway, do you guys have any questions? I know I've talked a lot about stuff tonight. Do you guys have any questions for me? Also, please, guys, they are they are suppressing our program. They are suppressing our program. YouTube is not letting anybody see our program. Very few people ever see our program. They are making sure that our numbers are down. You guys posted 99 likes, thumbs up for me tonight, which I greatly appreciate. Before you guys leave, make sure you give us a thumbs up, because they are suppressing the thumbs up. They're suppressing all of our numbers, all of them. Okay, it's incredible. I check numbers when it comes to the people that watch our program. Those numbers are also down. Our numbers of time watched is also down because they don't want to give us the numbers to show us that this channel is doing better, and they're suppressing it. It's insane. It's insane. They are also taking off our subscribers again. Please, folks, if you're not subscribed to this program, please subscribe to this program. And when you do, there's something else that you need to do. Click on that little bell. There's a little bell there you also need to click on. Click on that. You'll see a drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. I've talked to quite a few people as of late, the past 2 days, and they said that they are not getting notified when we come on the air. Many times it's because you have been unsubscribed or they've taken you off the list. Okay? Make sure you subscribe. Please also share this program far and wide, because YouTube's not doing it. Share it everywhere. Your family, your extended family, your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with. People you work with need to know the information that we gave you tonight. Okay? Earthquakes are happening all over the place. We're going to tell you about it as soon as we possibly can. As soon as the information comes out, we talk about it. Okay? Limited company businesses can get vetted with the right amount of cash. Yeah, no joke. Nathan Hester says they took all my views away, didn't say why. I deleted and started another one, but they haven't uploaded any videos yet. Yeah. Yeah. Don Patoka says when you get suppressed, you're over the target. You're right. You're right, Don. I am. I'm over the target. Anyway, guys, if you guys don't have anything else, I want to say thank you for being here with us tonight. Again, we came on the air late tonight because our internet was out most of the day. I had a doctor's appointment, etc. We will be back on the air tomorrow at basically the same time, sometime after 6 p.m. Today it was almost 8. I apologize for that. I hope you guys have a good night and a better tomorrow. If anything else happens, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information comes available. Okay? One of the things I want to talk to you before I leave. I usually give you guys a devotional, and I'm going to give you a scripture to think about. There's 2 scriptures here. One is in the first book of James, first chapter of James, verse 11 and verse 19. Okay? Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Every good gift comes from our Father in heaven. But on the same token, he tells us that every man should be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. That is my admonition to all of us. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy yourselves. If anything happens, let me know. And you guys can send me email messages. You can send me messenger messages, telephone messages, whatever. I'm easy to contact. My number's right in front of you here. Have a great night, guys. I love you very much. Again, if anything else happens, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, take it easy, guys. Please know I love you. I will see you soon. Good night, everybody.